Who's seen Tony before? Yep. Who loves Tony? I love Tony. Now, Tony brings to our room someone with real life experience. We've sort of spoken before about Tony's journey with Jerry Harvey and Harvey Norman and what he did and the results that he got for Jerry Harvey. Pretty remarkable, really. It was something like 12 million to 570 odd million over a series of years. So that's pretty amazing. Worked with an amazing team. So obviously, to have Tony here to talk about leadership and how to run a championship team, we're talking to someone who's not just read it in a book. We're actually talking to someone who's lived it, probably gone through, I would imagine, some not so amazing times with running a team and not always getting it right, which is okay. But this is a man that's actually done it. All right, and they're the sort of people I love to get up here on stage to talk to you about, because it's not theory, it's actually real life sort of stuff. All right, now he's working with, do you remember Randall? Remember Randall who came down, I did an interview with, worked for Churchill Education? We did the interview, great interview, and they talked about their team and believing in the dreams of your staff. So now Tony does a little bit of work for them and is getting amazing results for their sales team. All right, we're talking about, I think we just said a guy that was doing 60,000 a month in sales is now doing over 200,000 a month in sales. Tony's been working with him for 3 months.
No,
is that incredible?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, it was 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I lie. 3 weeks. Turned it around, changed the mindset. It was a guy that was insecure about Tony coming into the business. He turned him around to then. And the consequences of that are now his wife is having some really different conversations with her husband about how happy she is. If she was happy before, she's even happier now, isn't he? Because he's working on commission, and you start taking a little bit more of that commission home to your family. Things are pretty good at home, yeah? 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 Yeah, absolutely. All right, so one of my favourites. He is awesome. He is amazing. Would you please stand and big round of applause for Tony Guattari.
I think I'm on. Yeah, I'm on. Thank you. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Okay. Thank you, my friends. It's always good to be here in wonderful Wollongong. My favourite Wollongong. Okay. All right. So who's met me before? Sort of saw me. Okay. Got it. Who here basically has team members? Just to give you an understanding. Okay. Who here is basically dealing with suppliers of some nature? Okay, so you've got team members. Who here basically is also maybe outsourcing some of that work to other people? Okay, so you've got team members. They just don't happen to be internal team members, they happen to be external. So when I'm talking team, I want to anchor something really deep. I'm not just talking about internal team. I'm talking about everybody in the food chain. I'm talking suppliers. I'm talking outsourced parties that you can actually work with. And the principles that I'm going to unpack today have actual universal applications right across the boards. So I just wanted to ensure that we were all pretty cool with that and make sure that we had a really good understanding. I think you've got a bit of a workbook, and I will need to get one of those workbooks, and I just want to show you where we're at, because we are going to do some homework today. We're going to do some forms and all that sort of stuff. And it wouldn't be bad just to really start this stuff. And there is a form called Assessing Your Communication Skills. Okay. Because I think if you're going to be a really awesome leader, you actually have to know how to communicate. I've worked in some amazingly appalling businesses, and the essence of leadership is communication. And I've worked with people who have this enormous incapacity to communicate a vision to the team. So the team actually thinks it's doing a great job, but it doesn't know what a great job is. Because they mistake movement for achievement. They're busy doing what? So essentially, what I'd love you to do is that if you've got that sheet, and let's live in reality. This is not here to judge. But let's just actually say this is where I'm at the moment. But let's just ask each question, and you can see in each question, you've got 4 particular responses. Never, occasionally, frequently, always. So the first question, just tick the box, where I'm at the moment, and we'll score it up later on, is I can communicate the right message to the right person at the right time. Who there suffers foot-mouth disease occasionally, saying the wrong thing and you go, man, my tack was crap. Wow, that didn't go down so well. All right, so do that one first. I think carefully about the message before I decide how to communicate it with. Next one, I project self-confidence and speak confidently with authority. Next one, I encourage feedback about my communication. Asking a better question, what can I do better? Next one, I listen intently and check that I have understood the message from the person that is communicating to me before I reply. Next one, I try to exclude personal prejudices of all kinds when I'm judging others. Next one, I am constructive, not destructive, and civil when I meet others. Next one, I take time to give people the information they need and want. Time. Why are you bothering me? Can't you see that I'm busy? Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll do it for you. Next one. I use one-to-one meetings to review the performance and also to address sensitive personal issues. I question people to find out what they think and how they're getting on. Next page, and you'll score it. I document information I use to support my important verbal messages. So following on from our meeting, this is just to confirm the following. I make my reports accurate, concise, clear, and well structured. I communicate via all available electronic media that I have at my disposal to my team. I review external and internal communications for clarity before dispatching. Next one. I use an effective system of note-taking for minutes, interviews, meetings, agendas. Before I send out a letter or any form of marketing piece, I will test it with reliable critics before finalising it. I use fast reading techniques to speed up my work rate. I prepare speeches before carefully and deliver them well after rehearsal. I take an active and highly visible role in any internal training. I research thoroughly before putting forward a written proposal. I give priority to communicating regularly with staff. And last, but certainly not least, I receive and react positively to feedback from staff and others. Okay, you should have ticked some of those boxes. In every question there should be a box. Could you just score it? If you go back to the first page, you can actually see that never means 1 mark. Okay, occasionally is 2 marks, frequently is 3 marks, and always is 4 marks. Score it, and let's just see where everybody is at with the communication. A couple of minutes on that. Okay, we'll just get the bands. Who scored it? All right, you share? Killed share, open, transparent?
Sure.
And how much?
61.
61, you're here. Okay, who else has scored it?
39.
39. Okay, we're going to have to work with you, my friends. Okay, you're going to have to be a master communicator. That's cool. What was yours? 66. Okay. 78. Writer, rock star. Anyone? 69.
48.
48. Whoops, 48's here. Yep. Huh? 51. Anyone else? 61.
58.
58.
72.
Huh?
72.
72. All right. Okay, well that probably just gives us a perspective. We're probably in this middle band, the vast majority of us, which basically mean it's patchy. And basically just use that to say, well, this is the area that I may actually need to improve, because communication is so important from a leadership perspective. Because I'll share you a very true and open story about Harvey Norman. I was at Harvey Norman for 10 years, and a lot of people said, why was Harvey Norman so successful? First of all, it had prime mover advantage. It did things really quickly because it was a franchised organisation that wasn't in bureaucracy. It also, the other thing is that we actually created a model called the Superstore model. This is pre-internet. And the Superstore model was big box, category killer, retailing, pre-internet. We ripped off the model from the US, we brought it out to Australia, and because we could roll it out really quickly, because Jerry had lots of cash, as soon as we opened up one store, we knew it was going to fly, and he said, just open up as many as you can get. So we went and we just tried to transfer every computer department into a computer superstore. But I'm going to be really open and honest. Harvey Norman had really bad systems. They were bad. They were chaotic. And if I was to say what made Harvey Norman successful, it was essentially the quality of our team. Without any shadow of a doubt, we were, at that stage, the most hungriest organisation I had seen. If you had a pulse, we would try to sell you something. Now, in a retail business, that is incredibly important. And what I'm going to do is, towards the end, I'm actually going to give you 12 qualities of a performance-driven team. And every organisation I now work with, I try to actually integrate this into their business with great results. So I just wanted to really highlight that one of the aspects of business is that you've got to have a great team. A lot of people get misguided, and it's because there is a book out there that basically reinforces that all you have to do is build systems. Because the book is quite a good book, I've actually never seen it work. That's the problem. Because you sell books based on the hope of the future, not reality. Like the 4-Hour Work Week. Great title for a book if you want to sell a lot of books. And the book is actually a great book called Michael Gerber called E-Myth Revisited. Has anybody read the book? It's a good book. It's probably one of the biggest selling small business books ever because it exposes a dream that all you need to do in your business is systemize your business and everything will work like a well-oiled machine. The reality is a system is only as good as the team that operates it. And essentially, in any business, you have the role of the business owner. And then the business owner's role is, first of all, to develop the systems. But they don't just develop the systems. They are, how can I say it? They are the custodian of the system. They protect the system. They honour the system. They reinforce the system. Why? Because the system is the business. Because the challenge that we always have, and this is going in one company at the moment that I'm speaking to, is that great staff people are really hard to find. Because if they're that great, they're probably going to work and they're actually going to start their own business in many ways. So the key is, how do I get, and on no discredit, average people and make them great? The key is that you actually have great systems. Because if you don't have great systems, then what occurs is that you'll have a great team member and you think you've actually got a great, awesome team. But if that team member ever leaves, you're up shit creek. Or you're held hostage by that team member. Allah, give me more money. Dangerous stuff. So the business owner builds the system, protects the system. You only have to do this sucker once. I know it's hard. Everyone says, oh, I don't want to build systems. I said, no, you only got to do it once, mate. And then what you do is that the team honours and respects the system. Now we're going to talk about change management because when you introduce systems, the natural resistance of people is extreme. And you've got to form habits. The system looks after the team. The team follow the system. Is the system perfect? Of course it's not. It's never meant to be perfect because it's constant, ongoing, never-ending improvements. But here it is, sunshine. You follow the system until we decide to upgrade the system. But what happens, guys, if the owner doesn't follow his own system? Huh? Nobody will. Because leadership is not edict anymore, it's example. So here you have this smashing entrepreneur, who is the business owner, that actually has told everybody else to use the system, but they themselves don't use the system. Challenging. The team looks after the customer, and the customer, of course, pays the business owner. These two must work together. Without systems, you have a team, you hit the law of the lid. The biggest challenge in most small businesses is going to the next stage. Okay, they hit that lid. It's a huge lid. It is a phenomenal lid to go from a small business to a medium business, because a medium business needs different instruments. I've seen this all the time. They won't grow their business. Why? They'll go to a sales and marketing seminar. They don't want business because the business owner associates growth with pain. Right? You're exhausted. Why? Because I've hit it. And psychologically, we are wired in a very unique way. We avoid pain, we maximise pleasure. So if I anchor growth equals pain, you will not grow your business. You might come to a seminar and get excited about the ideas, but you will actually not implement, because your nature is, I'm avoiding pain. And what I see now, I can't be bothered because I am exhausted. I work the most, I earn the least, I work on weekends, and I work at night. When do I ever get a rest from this sucker?
You got my office, bud.
I have worked with lots of I have a heart for small business. I only have one heart for small business, and the reason why is this. I can do a lot of shit in corporate. A lot of shit. And I do. I earn good coin out of corporate. But here's the beauty of small business from Guitari's perspective. If I can work with a small business owner, I will leave a legacy for that owner. But I won't leave a legacy just for him. I will leave a legacy for his family. Do you understand how important it is that a father sees his son regularly? If all I can do is leave a legacy that is a shift in that foundational where my dad was here for me, my dad was my father, then that actually hits my bell. Why? Because I didn't do that with my children. That's powerful stuff. So if you are really intently focused on building a business, I ask you not to lose your life in the process. Because I can go to a lot of seminars and you get really excited by other people, but you know what? You've got to have your own vision. Don't hijack someone else's. It's very easy to say, I want what Stephen's got. So that's important. So a couple of things that I just wanted to share with you, and you've probably seen this in your own life. And I don't know what's happened there? Oh, I've lost everything. Did I do something wrong? Can you go back to that slide?
Like your socks.
Oh, you're in here.
His heels off.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Great. This is a great little slide called empowerment. And I'll just share with you what I actually think occurs sometimes. Sometimes when you start a business, you've got really crappy systems. Okay, and essentially you're doing everything yourself, so there's a low sense of freedom. I call that the quadrant of fear. Okay, then what happens is that, and this happens sometimes in just by default because you get a lot of business, and I've seen this in a lot of contracting businesses, where suddenly what happens is that you get a stack load of work. You get a stack load, like a stack load. And then you employ people and in electrical, and you employ site workers. You got no systems. You just go, let's throw labour at it. And it's chaos. So there is high freedom, it's just fantastic, and it's chaos. And sometimes owners are wired that way, where it's, you know, I'm not really into the systems, just sell, don't worry about it, just sell, we'll fix it up later on, don't worry about the back end. Okay. Then you have the different sort of owner that basically has really developed great systems, but the team feel like they're in jail. The key of empowerment is this: fantastic systems, but a high degree of freedom for the team members to be the best that they can be. What's the problem of being a business owner? What's some of the challenges that we'll all face? Who has birthed the business? The owner. What's the problem with that?
Your baby.
Yeah. And what's the problem with being your baby sometimes?
The lesson responsibility.
You can control it because it's part of your DNA. And as Sting said, if you love someone, set them free. So the difficulty is sometimes we're so close to it, we have a controlling spirit. It is impossible to grow a business if you micromanage everything. You do your head in, just knocks you. But I do it because it's my business and I can do it better than anybody else. And so essentially, you actually create team members that have never grown up. So, just food for thought, because I've actually sort of worked with really large teams. And I fundamentally believe that you need to grow and develop team members by having great systems. I think you've got to inspect to improve, and I think you've got to actually measure what you manage. If you can do those two things well, you'll be a sensational business owner. And the greatest single challenge that you've got is that you actually get, if you're a bit of a workaholic, you'll actually get to the point where you're actually thinking that you're actually not earning your keep because you're working too little. Because you think, I have to put in 40 hours. You don't. As a business owner, your principle is leverage. It's not how many hours you work, it's what you put into those hours. Okay. Probably got to understand team members. I don't know if I shared with you this last time, but it's an important concept of learning. I've got a sort of some qualification in learning, so I just wanted to give you some principles of learning so you understand your role in understanding team members is that they are fundamentally different and understanding where they sit and how do I customise their growth. A couple of things we need to be aware of. We are essentially about creating habits. This event doesn't create habits. What creates habits is you build a muscle, you stretch a muscle, you tear a muscle, and you develop that muscle. Habits occur over at least 30 days. It's not a pep talk. If you want to create great people, they have to create great habits. If you've got shit people, you've got some challenges because you've got to rip out the weeds and then you've got to plant the new seeds. That's why sometimes it's easier to cut your losses and employ new people, especially if you've got a new culture and a new vision, because they're not bringing any legacy with them. but we'll talk about change management later on. How habits are formed is this way. The first way that we actually do, and I call this the ignorance stage. And I assess people, and what happens is in the ignorance stage is that the question is, I don't know that I don't know. Classic example. I'm a little boy, 1 or 2 years old, sitting in the back of the car with my dad, and I don't know that I'm going to drive a car. I don't know that I don't know. It's ignorance. And the greatest single challenge that I have in working with business owners is the philosophy of, I don't need to know that. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is total tragedy. There should be thousands of people at this seminar, but they're not. Why? I don't know. I really do believe that your library should be larger than your TV set. So that's the first stage. I don't know that I don't know. The next stage is, and this is where a great leader has to actually become brilliant, is I must wake up the sleeping giants. I must move you to an awareness stage. I must move you to that position of, I now know that I don't know. Now, if you had a team member that you actually had to move to an awareness stage, what methods could I use? Any ideas? Got a team member, okay? They're in ignorance, now I want to bring them to awareness. How would I do that?
Let them make mistakes.
Yeah.
Model.
Modelling, yeah, fantastic. Any other way?
Provide feedback.
Provoke feedback, yeah.
Make sure they understand your vision.
Yeah, understand your vision.
Training.
Training, absolutely. I personally think the most potent form of bringing people to an awareness stage is you have to move into a coaching modality. See, I'm a coach. I don't have the answer. I just know how to ask the right question. I'm going, shit, it's a good question. Imagine the power of actually not giving the answer but asking the right question. Steve, what do you think? He goes, how do you reckon we could solve that next time? You know the answer. You know. Resists. He goes, oh, this is what I do. Anything else? Yeah, we do this. Now, Steve, and I'm responding positively to his suggestions. And I go to him, Steve, that is brilliant. A much maligned staff member who has been callously abused over the many, many decades with other employees, he suddenly feels that he can make a difference. He will want that experience again and again. Because what have you done? You have built his self-worth. If they're hardheads, I will get outside help. I will buy them a book. And I buy people books because I deal with hardheads. And I might buy a book called, I love this book. If you can get this little book, it's like an 80-page book. It's a little parable of mice. It's called Who Moved My Cheese? Has anybody read it? It's insane. I give it to people because they're hardheads. I said, what'd you think of the book? I'm that mouse, aren't I? I said, I'm not saying anything. Because that's in our... Now, does this work all the time? Of course not. Because you have to make a determination where people sit. There's a line. If that team member is displaying the following characteristics, I would strongly suggest that you fire quickly. You cannot permanently change people's attitudes and belief systems without them wanting to do it. You can give them a pep talk for a day and you might keep them there, but then they become high maintenance and they drain the blood out of you. And then the people that you should be supporting, your stars, feel neglected. What are the things that I inherently look for? Do they have, I call, a victim mentality? Three characteristics: blame, big time; denial, and excuses. Anyone got any team members that they think are there? Any business owner there? We got to get that shit sorted out. Forget skills. Because that's the big stuff. Now, we all go there because we have crappy days. What you want as a victim mentality is completely different. This is what you're looking for: accountability, responsibility, and the last one is ownership. If at this stage they have that quality, I can move them through. If they have that quality, I can't take them to the next stage because there is a barrier there. Tough barrier, huge barrier. What's the next stage? It's the desire stage. So we've gone from ignorance to awareness. Now we're moving to desire. What's the desire? Is I'm working at it. Since you've last seen me, yes, I have. I told you about my little health situation. I was a fatty. I was huge, 110 kilos. Okay, and you know, I got my shit together. I sort of, you know, wanted to stay married and went through some marriage stuff, and I'm happily married to, you know, the same woman, but just went through some stuff. Got to 50, looked at myself stark naked and said, "You're not big boned. You're overweight. Come on, let's be serious here, Mr. Guitari." I said, "Yeah, I'm overweight, but that's okay because, you know, I'm Italian and it's okay to be overweight because we like food." It's probably denial. And then I, you know, started a journey of losing weight, and you know, and then since I've last spoken to you, I said I have completed 2 marathons. I'm on to my 3rd at the moment, but I had to work at it. Running a marathon is not something you can wake up in the morning and say, "Let's just do this sucker." It's not. It's 16 weeks preparation. It's intense. It's focused. It's very regimented. And you start running on a treadmill, and I remember starting the journey. 2 kilometres on a treadmill. And then you just turn up every day, and you go, "I wonder what will happen at 2.5. And then I was running 8 kilometres on a treadmill every day, and I got bored of running on a treadmill for 8 kilometres. I said, "Okay, I've got to run on the road now. I've got no goal. I'll just float. I know I'll do something that I don't even think I can do, because therefore it's the hope of the future, and it'll stir me." So do a marathon, why not? So I said, oh, do a marathon? And I said, yeah, that's great. And then put it on Facebook and tell everybody so I can actually be totally transparent if I fail. So therefore I'm out there, I'm making a commitment to the world, making a commitment to myself, and I start the journey. Here is the point. You got to work at it. I don't know about you, but I can remember the first time that I actually drove a car. And it was a manual at that stage. You know, I learnt on a manual. Man, have you ever seen it? I don't know, L drivers do manuals anymore, but have you ever sort of seen an L driver drive? Like the first time they're in the car? It's like freak out stuff. Like, how am I going to get the clutch and the gears and the accelerator going together? They're crunching everything. They're so timid. That's that stage. But here's the problem. I've got to allow you the time to develop your muscle. Just imagine if you're a business owner and you're a fitness instructor and you said, I'll do the exercise for you. It wouldn't work. But how many times as business owners could we potentially do that in our frustration? We say, I'll do it. Gotta take the long. Gotta look at this from the long-term perspective. What am I doing? I'm creating dependent team members of me. I don't have a business. I still have a job. Because iGuitari, this is how I classify a business. A commercial, profitable enterprise that can work without the owner. It's probably why you go into business. Now, it's different if you've got a practice. A practice is a very different model. You do what you love. You actually make hay while the sun shines. I'm a speaker. You know, a speaker is a practice business. Yeah, I can sell books and things, but I still have to deliver something. But that's okay. I'm working at it. If you've got a shitty attitude, victim, you can't work at it. Because God, what do you do? Oh no, I don't need any help. No, this is all crap. The training's all crap. I just do it my way. Oh, I'll blame someone else. The reason it's not working is they're not working, or I'll find excuses not to do it. And the last type is the conditioning stage. Now, the conditioning stage is really important. It's mastery. But mastery's never arrived. It's like Tiger Woods still has a golf coach. A championship tennis player who has a coach. Why? Now, you can do it in your sleep. And right now, every single person here doesn't actually think about how they drive a car. You don't sort of wake up in the morning and say, I wonder how I drive a car today. And many of you, like me, half of the time we don't even know. We just drive around and we don't think of it. Sometimes we're half inebriated. Sometimes we've got 3 hours sleep. We can still drive. But it happens. And all I'm asking you to do is do one profound thing. Your level of learning could be mastery. Their level of learning could be awareness. Understand where they're at and ask yourself the question, it took me 10 years to get here. Why am I expecting it's going to take 10 minutes for them to get here? That's why you need systems, because guess what the system is? The recipe in your head. You reckon you're going to the systems? Every single person that is in business who has been successful has a system. Sometimes it's not documented, it's still a recipe. My job is to suck it out of you, document that so I actually free you from it. Okay. Just a quick slide, because I love this slide. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this slide. 4 ways of being. I'll share an example of what happens with children. Most of you, some of you got children. Who's got children here? Kids? Okay, so you'll get this. Basically, what happens is that you start this amazing relationship with your children, and your children is very dependent on you. Okay, they're 2 years old, so basically you're okay, but they're not okay. Okay, and they know they're not okay because they're reliant on you to feed them, to look after you, etc., etc. So that's the first. It's called a win-lose relationship. I'm the winner, you're the loser, but you need me, and ultimately that's our relationship at the moment. Then the child grows up, and the child might hit that lovely age of 11, okay, and the child realises it's not okay, but it also realises its parents aren't okay either, okay? So we move into that I'm not okay, you're not okay, lose-lose scenario, okay? Which is normally what occurs. They're not judgmental, but they're actually saying, hey, you've got these faults too, and we've both got these faults. Next one is really when, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this, when you have children who start to judge their parents, okay? Because we tend to have this, I can see the speck in your eye, but I can't see the log in my own. Okay. And that's the next type. And, if you've got, I've been through that. I've got 18, 17-year-old children. They've got their shit together. They think they can solve world problems. They think they've got the total answer. They don't need any advice because they're 17. My goodness me. What would Dad know? Dad's a dodo bird. He's not, he's not with it. And the relationship is... I'm good, Dad, but you're not. So it's essentially a lose-win. Essentially, great teams, great leadership is this situation of I'm okay, you're okay. You know what okay is? Not perfect. We actually live in a spirit of grace. We accept each other's imperfections and can actually work together. Fantastic place, because guess what you need to give every team member? Safety. If you can create a safe environment for a team member to make mistakes and correct those mistakes, you'll get the best out of that team member. If a team member is in a spirit of fear of the boss will come down to me if I make a mistake, they will try to do as little as possible never to make that mistake. So therefore, they will do as little as possible for their work. They won't be asked to think, they will become compliant individuals. Challenging. Okay. Now, we did this before. Very big fan of this. And I want to ask you a couple of questions before we move on. Okay, now we did this from a sales perspective, but let's just talk team at the moment. Every single team member that you've almost got to have this amazing ability to read their emotional intelligence. What are their triggers? What turns them on? How are they wired? You've really got to become a wonderful counsellor in some areas, because you're actually dealing with human emotions. And your job is to motivate people who are different than you. It's really easy to motivate someone who is like me, because all I do is I talk about what motivates me, and somehow it motivates them. But the reality of life is that if you're an entrepreneur, people that are working for you aren't going to be entrepreneurs. So essentially, my job is to motivate, inspire, activate this person. And you can get this shit really wrong, because you're actually using the wrong trigger on the wrong person. And it's actually backfiring. Stuff that you could say could actually freak them out. I mean, big time. You love it, you love it, you love it, but they go, oh my goodness me. And they won't say anything. They'll just like stone silence. And then suddenly, next week, you'll see their resignation coming. We don't leave bad businesses, we leave bad leaders. Now let's just talk about this. Now I'm going to give you let's just say that you had the first personality type. And the first personality type is that person who is outward focused. Okay, and this is inward, so introverted, extroverted. And this person here is results driven and people driven. Now, let's just talk about this person here. Now, let's just say that you had an eagle in your team. Now, all that you have to remember is, I don't know if you were here last time, but the love language in summary of an eagle is what? Can anybody remember? What do they crave for? What does an eagle want?
Recognition.
They want to win. So my question to you, and if you were looking at an eagle right now, what would be some of the best positions to place an eagle? Forget skills. What do you reckon some of the best positions to put an eagle in?
Sales.
Sales. Why?
Because they're driven.
Yeah, because they can get a fix, can't they? The fix is closing the deal. Like, wow, closed a deal. You ever seen an eagle operate? An eagle operates for the thrill of the chase, the close of the win. It's not so much the money is a reward for doing it, but there is a hunger that they've actually got. They like winning. What else? What sort of other environments? Do you think eagles can be really good leaders?
No, they might be too pressured on other people.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but what do they have? If they need to win, they are fantastic bloody learners. Because they have to win, what they do is they understand how to play the game. So even though their natural personality is they actually can be quite bossy, they can shift gears brilliantly because they need to shift gears in order to win. Some people can call them charismatic. They know when to switch it on and they know when to switch it off. Steve Jobs was a classic eagle. Charismatic, people that worked for him said, man, hard guy. Got your pound of flesh. Switch on, switch off. Sales, yes. Leadership, yes. Eagles are good working with teams. Now, let's just say you've got an eagle on your team. Let's just say you've got one. Just share with me. What are some of the stuff that you could do to an eagle to switch their buttons? What could you do to them to motivate them?
Dangle a rat.
Dangle a rat?
Give them authority.
Give them authority? Yeah, absolutely. What else could you do? You know, you want to fire this guy up.
Give them a challenge. Targets.
Challenge? They love challenge. Why do they love challenge? Because they like to win. Give them a
Target.
I love it. Absolutely. Anything else?
Turn it into a competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell them, I'm not sure that you can do this. So I don't know, like I'm coming to you because I don't want you to share this with the team. But you're a bit like a Marine. This is a big project. I want to give it to you. I want to give you first shot at it. That is big stuff for an eagle. Do you control an eagle? No. Because you control an eagle, you get the worst out of them because they'll try to buck the system. You manage them. A couple of things that I would strongly suggest. They like to take responsibility. They absolutely adore it. They want it. They actually are really cool. Sometimes they're natural leaders even though they don't have the position. Sometimes they like to work alone. They can be mavericks. They can be lone wolves, especially in a sales environment. They like to work on multiple projects. They are really comfortable working on multiple projects. They don't like taking orders. They like giving them, but not necessarily taking them. They're focused on results, the next project. But what I found, if the project lasts too long, or there's no hope of victory, they can actually say this is a waste of time. They're confident, outspoken, almost appears arrogant. Sometimes they actually find it hard to trust people because they trust people based on their results, not their resumes. Big picture, hopeless at detail. My goodness me. They can overwork themselves because they don't know how to leverage well. Not always a great team player. They're quick to make up their mind and judge. They need doves and they need owls in their team. Eagles don't flock. Next one. Who reckons they've probably got an eagle somewhere in their team? So it's using the right strategy for the eagle. Who reckons they're probably a bit of an eagle anyway? So it's like, I'm a bit of an eagle. Yeah, you got it. Next one is outward focused, people orientated, peacock. These guys are easy to switch on. I'm telling you, my goodness me. Wow. I have so much fun with these guys. What is their love language? It's all about image. How do I look? How do I look in front of other people? What is one of the things that you would do to turn on a peacock? What would you do?
Praise them.
Praise them. It is just like it's spirit food to them. Encourage them. Tell them in a team meeting, hey, Joe, you're doing a great job. Can you share with the rest what you're doing? You are a rock star. I am. What else would I do? I'll just give you some ideas. They want to be liked by everybody they deal with. So sometimes they're really good at selling, but they're really hard they're not great at closing, because closing can involve rejection, but they are really good at networking and opening up doors. They're not good at staying focused. Why? They need excitement. They start off strong, and then they lose their way in the detail and it becomes boring. And when it becomes boring, I've lost interest. This is so boring. They have difficulty completing things. Start in a great flurry. Hey, they sometimes want to do what they like or they want. Because my entire life is about my happiness. Didn't you know that? And if I don't get my happiness, I'll just leave. Because it's all about me. It's a challenge because a lot of the younger generation have a peacock-like quality because we honour celebrities who are peacocks. So we live in a world where leadership has been totally maligned by celebrities that aren't leaders, that are just lucky sperms. They may talk too much instead of working. They think, oh wow, just come to work and just talk. It's like social. They don't want to work with details, hate details. In fact, just refuse to no details. You need them because they're the fun masters. You actually need a few peacocks. You don't want too many because it'll be chaotic. Make pretty good salespeople. Make great account managers if you want to manage accounts. Customer service, reception. Gee, want a peacock? Yeah. Don't want an owl on reception. Really good motivators. Great to have in a team. They they tend to be optimistic. They need encouraging by the leader because they're an encourager and they need to be fed their love language. They get along really well with an eagle because there is a quality they like about an eagle. It's that confidence and that gregarious nature. They get along with doves, right? And they also get along with owls. Who reckons they've got a peacock somewhere in their team? You go. Who is that peacock? Is anybody here a peacock? So okay. So and it's just realizing that, man, I got a peacock on my team, and I gotta start using peacock language. Next two, we'll do this quickly because we want to have a break. This is the big one. This is the people that will work for you. The reason they're not in business is because their love language is, I need security and risk reduction. So what they're basically saying is, running a business and starting a business is way too bloody scary, so I'm going to work for someone else. So their love language is security and risk reduction. Now, these are the engine of most businesses. They don't speed up. They only have one pace. You want them to speed up. They can't speed up because there is only one pace. They will look at their watch and say, boss, it's 5 o'clock. They will take their lunch at a certain time. They are so methodical in their lunch. And if you don't have a system, they're lost. They need a checklist. They need an operational manual because they need security. Important stuff. How would I motivate them? Guess what? They hate change. Just imagine you go to this seminar, you're an entrepreneur, and you get so fired up by Steve, you go into your office the next day and you got doves and say, guess what, guys? We're going to fucking change everything. Just imagine how they're freaking out. They're going, oh no, he's been to another seminar. This too will pass. Okay? Small steps. Small steps. Change management is so important here. You've got to support them because we're going to go through the 7 reactions to change later on. But what do I know about a dove? And I'll just share this with you. Needs lots of data to decide with. What else do I know about them? Good team players will do everything. I mean, they will do the stuff that needs to be done. They'll complain later on. They'll say, I'm carrying everybody. But they have that maternal instinct. They actually enjoy helping people. They'll actually help team members. They're very patient and they're incredibly caring. Really good in customer service. They actually genuinely want to solve the customer's problem. Hates making a decision that pushes people. You can promote them past their level of competency. You got someone who's a dove, you put them in a leadership position, they will never want to have a crucial conversation with anybody in their entire life. In fact, what they will do is that they will do the work for the person so they never have to confront them. And if you've got an eagle that works for them, the eagle will start abusing them and using them as a doormat. Slow and steady and reliable. One pace. One gear. Sacking a team member is way too hard. Hates to put pressure on the team member for performance. Hates making quick decisions. Deliberates. Security. Fear of loss. Procrastinates. Oh, what if this goes wrong? What if this goes wrong? Will not work faster under pressure. Follows procedures extremely well. Follows systems. Give me a system, I'm secure. No system, insecurity. Freak out. Wants to support instead of lead. In fact, never wants to lead. Will follow policies, systems, and processes brilliantly. Is absolutely scared of an eagle sometimes. Just freaks them, but likes peacocks and owls. Last one. So that's the dove, and the dove is here. So people orientated and security is their love language. The last one is the owl. And the owl's love language is facts and details. Doves, who's got doves? Yeah, you got dove. Doves sometimes will stay with you for 20 years. Right? They just like the salt of the earth, 20 years, whole idea, just go through. Last one is the owl, before we break. Owl's love language is facts and details. What do you reckon you've got to do with an owl? Come on, motivate an owl. Okay, what do you think the natural personality of an owl is? I'll ask you a question. Optimistic or pessimistic? Pessimistic. They are the proverbial doubting Thomases. What would be the best positions for an owl? Accounting, bookkeeping. What else? Legal. What? They are the entrepreneur's best friend, but greatest enemy. It's called checks and balances. They piss off an entrepreneur because they actually question the entrepreneur why he's doing things. You need them because you need the reality check of an owl to actually so you don't go broke too quickly. They count the pennies really well. They are miserly. They hate making decisions. They procrastinate into detail. If it's not perfect, they'll never launch. They will have the best business plan in the entire world and never start because they're seeking perfection in an imperfect world. They will go to every seminar to learn more but never launch. What do I know about them in summary? Making quick decisions, impossible. Taking responsibility, nah. Attention to detail, unbelievable. You give them a document to read and they will find the typos. You go to an owl and you say, can you please check this? It'll be done brilliantly. They'll sign stuff you've never seen. How did you pick up? And I'll come back. This has got to be changed. And it's really great. I've got an owl at Churchill. I just give him all the shit that I don't like doing. He loves it. Oh, can you read we call it the RPL Bible. He just stayed up all night. He read it. I want your feedback. Give me all the detail. He's fixed it all up. He's got, this is what they've got to do here. I can't be bothered. He loves it. Can you help me out here? Analysis by paralysis can become a perfectionist. Bit pessimistic, not focused on being friendly with the team all the time. A technician hates their salespeople. Doesn't want to take responsibility of a leader. Can get lost in planning, never making a start. Doesn't want to follows rules and focuses on the past. Could say things like, "We've always done it this way." Oh, you haven't followed the rules. And actually is pretty cool working by themselves, can work steadily and happily by themselves. Their best friend is a PC screen sometimes. Has that sort of given you an insight? Now, all I wanted to do is I wanted to unpack this because I think deep down, you're going to have all these creatures somewhere in your business sooner or rather than either outsourced. And you all need them because a healthy business has different personalities operating because my strength is your weakness. So effectively, I'm plugging the gaps. Because you want true joy in your business, focus on your strengths and abandon your weaknesses. Surrender. You are not the general manager of your entire universe. You are really shit at certain things. Get over it, accept it. You're never going to be good at it. Even if you go to every seminar and read every book, you've got to understand it. But where your wealth and prosperity comes, I will guarantee you, is you focus on your God-given strengths and you equip and you continue to develop those strengths to become a superstar in what you do. That's all you have to do. Can I do that? Yes, you can. Because all you do is you actually move from being successful to significant. And it's a character change that needs to occur. And all I'm asking you to do is, and you might want to just, I don't know, who's got team members here? Right, write down your team members. I don't know how many you've got, just as long as you haven't got 200. If you've got a team member, if you've got outsourced suppliers, just write them all down right now and just put 4 columns and tick whether you think they're an eagle or a dove or a peacock or an owl. Just do it, because I want you to go back and say, you know what? I have been motivating you the wrong way. And I want you to shift gears, because I reckon you'll see some huge breakthroughs in your team. Because they'll go, oh, wow, that fires me up, guitar. So that would be a great exercise to do. Any insights into that at the moment? So anyone want to share? When people go through some crap in their life, sometimes they will shift personalities for a season, and you'll see that season end, and they'll go back to their natural personality. Traditional things that could happen is a massive breakdown in relationship could knock their self-confidence. Marriage breakdowns traditionally can knock people around. Bankruptcy, a failed business, could actually turn an eagle into a dove for a while. But after they come out of that season, they'll push back on. Based on experiences, personalities don't necessarily change, but as we move towards the end of our physical lives, we can actually become a bit more dove-orientated, because we're trying to protect what we've got, not go for what we can get. So that's just some insights. Any questions on that before we close this thing up, so we can move to the next section after we have lunch? Yes?
Do you reckon the person could have... So, do you reckon the person could have like a 2 characters?
Yeah, absolutely. I am definitely, unquestionably, an eagle, peacock, peacock, eagle. Peacock, eagle on stage, eagle, peacock behind stage. All the time.
So, how can I deal with them?
Huh?
How can I deal with them?
How do you deal with them? You take their major personality and you work on their major personality. So if I'm looking at Steve right now, I'm just actually saying, I think Steve is a peacock eagle. That's what my gut says peacock eagle. Likes doing this stuff because he likes to present. Okay, really good at presenting. He dresses well, so he's got that peacock thing. He keeps relatively fit, okay, and he's actually a little bit on social media, so there's that sort of look. That's what I'm figuring, okay? If I'm trying to inspire him, I'm probably going to try to inspire him. I'm going to try to encourage him. If I'm coaching him, I will focus on what he's done well. I won't criticise what he's done badly, because that's hitting his love language. You never attack a peacock, because their love language is image. You're hacking into their image.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does that help? Is any other question on that? Yeah, go ahead.
Motivating an owl. I've got an accountant who we've been trying to change accounting software. The program's been running since November, and we're still in the analysis phase before we choose something to get stuck into, and it's exactly everything you're saying. But I can push him, and I have to push him on a lot of things, and we're just like, all right, he'll present everything. I'm like, well, that's the obvious choice, let's get on with it. And he'll go, but in order for him to make the internal decision himself, how do we motivate an owl to take that step?
Okay, first of all, owls are fantastic at research.
Yeah.
Okay, they love research, and they overanalyze everything, and they look for flaws of why it can't be done. My suggestion is, you've probably already done this, you would sit down with him and say, look, in your honour, it's clearly obvious to me that you have a great attention to detail. It's like spirit stuff. It's like the frustrated teacher. It's the educator. And in fact, you know a lot more about this than I do. What I would like for you to do, if it's possible, could you, after you've done your due diligence, okay, could I ask you to do a recommendation of what you think we should do? Now, what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to present, when do you think, John, that you could present that to myself and to the team? And he says, oh, I could do that in a week. Can we schedule a date now? Remember, they like order. Can we schedule a date? How long do you think you'll need at the meeting? I need about an hour. Okay, great. Are you going to write a report? They'll write a report on it, trust me. Okay, they'll just love the report. They won't do anything. So what we essentially do, if you want, what we would like to do is that before you do it, why don't you write the report and distribute it to all the leaders 4 days prior to you presenting it. But I would like, because I really honour your technical experience, okay? But you do understand that we actually do need to move past technical. So I'm looking for a recommendation of what you think we should do. That's probably the way I would handle that situation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Daniel?
Just one last question.
I've got a guy that I get him to try and do things he just barely. I want him to tick these boxes, but he ticks, he sort of goes around. He doesn't engage, and he purposely holds back, but he's a friend. And I just want to say, go. If you don't buy into the vision and share knowledge and that, you're just going to have to go. And I'm prepared to say, look, thanks, mate. It's been good to know you, but I've got a vision and I don't want to carry.
So why did you employ him at the beginning?
I didn't. I don't employ him. He sort of shared the vision at the beginning. We had a common acceptance. And as a business owner, he's a peacock and he's both. He doesn't have to be there. If he doesn't do his job, he's got income, he's got stuff coming in, he's like a volunteer. But he just hangs back, and I've always known him just to sort of sit back and watch it happen and do the minimum possible.
So he's not engaged?
Not at all.
And he's not engaged, and how does that make you feel?
I just want to kill him.
Okay.
I don't care about the friendship anymore.
Okay, you're past that.
Past it now.
And, okay, so
It hurts as well.
it hurts because you can see the friendship has been affected. Are you still friends?
Yeah, to a degree.
Does he sense the tension?
I don't know.
Have you ever had an open, transparent, candid conversation with him?
I have.
And what has been the outcome of that conversation?
Denial.
Denial.
Denial. He just doesn't, he doesn't agree.
All right, my strong suggestion is what I would do is you need to set boundaries, and you need to set boundaries to protect yourself. And you need to make it really clear that you may not see this, but this is how I'm feeling, and I need to protect myself now. That's the only thing I would do in that situation. Because if you don't have boundaries, boundaries can be abused by people based on friendship. This happens in marriages all the time, where the boundaries are abused. We have to forgive, but we also may have to make sure that we don't forget. Because everyone says, oh, you've got to forgive them, forgive them, forgive them. But you can, but they've hurt you. You've got to actually set boundaries. That's what Anyone else got a suggestion? Because that's a really good question by Daniel. Any suggestions on that? Yeah, go.
Are your separate roles clarified? Like are your role and your mate's role, are they clarified?
To a degree, everyone on the team has a role. Graphic designer, videographer, but he doesn't have a role. He's on the website without a title. And it's just nuts.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't put his hand up and say, hey, I want to help out here. He's just saying, tell me what to do. I tell him what to do, but he doesn't do it.
All right. My strong suggestion, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you already know what you have to do.
Kill him. He's
No. You can do it. I've done a lot of this work. I sometimes get involved in trying to sort out partnership issues, which are sometimes have been based on friendship and now need to be based on structure. And sometimes you can't do it, but I can, because someone comes in as an outside expert and they says, this is the shit that we have to do. And what you would normally do in that situation is that person would have a clear job description and they would have KPIs. And he would have to honour them. At the moment, he's actually got no structure, so he thinks he can float anywhere as he feels. So he's not accountable to anything. And any form of accountability that you try to implement won't work, because he doesn't see you having that authority to be able to do that with him. So you actually need to go outside of that and get someone that actually works in the business that you both respect, and you say they're going to help us to build this business. And therefore, that happens is good cop, bad cop. They're the bad cop, I'm the good cop. Because you can't be bad cop because you are considered to be still his friend, and that's the difficulty you'll have in that situation. And that will work dramatically well. He'll do one of two things. He will fall into line or leave. Because he realises he's going to be made accountable. And that will give you joy, irrespective of either way, because you can then say to him, you're not following your job description. And he'll go, you're right. So you can't do that because there's no structure at the moment.
He doesn't really know if he's missing the mark if we don't know what the target is. But anyway, that was good.